I'll just give everyone another. I'll give everyone one more minute as I start talking before we get to my esteemed guest. I just want to introduce myself and talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking over the next 5 weeks about. My name is Dr. Jennifer Stewart. I'm the Chief Vision Officer of OD Perspectives at my consulting and advisory firm. I'm a frequent contributor to iThrive. I've been a GPN member. I think I have to find out exactly. I think I was the third client. So I'm well versed with GPN, and I've been just a huge fan of the iThrive platform, both as a contributor and as a reader. So I'm super excited to have everybody here tonight for this webinar series that came out of a series of conversations that started actually with the iThrive team about some upcoming pieces that we were thinking about writing. And we got talking about what does somebody want in a practice, and why did we become optometrists? What's going on in the community? What's going on with optometry in general? And this started in the summer, and I started noticing that I felt like people were struggling, and people were struggling in their practices. They were struggling with their staff. They were struggling personally with their finances. They were struggling with their practice finances. Culture was changing. We're living in very challenging times. So not only personally, but our office culture was changing. And we were feeling a little bit lost about how to find good staff, how to interview them, how to keep them, what do they want, and how do I build this practice that I want to go to every day? And it really struck me that we all become business people and entrepreneurs for a reason, and we have these dreams. And it can be very easy to get out of that. And I was having some conversations with the iThrive team about what I've been noticing. And we said, wow, this can't just be a series of articles. We really need to dig deep and to really get this out to people and bring in some people to help. And I worked very closely with everyone on this webinar series to talk about what's going on, what are they seeing in the industry, and who can they turn to for help. So that's where Building an Authentic Practice came from. It's a 5-part webinar series. This is webinar 1. So thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. I invite you and encourage you to attend the next 5 weeks. We will meet every Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern, same time, same place. And I've got a great lineup of guests to join me in our series of conversations. This is interactive. I welcome you to put some questions in the chat. I've seen lots of hi and how are you, and glad to be here as we've been going, which is really great to see. And if you've got questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I will see them, Adam will see them, and the iThrive team will also see them. If you have friends that didn't attend tonight and they are missing out, make sure to let them know they can still sign up as an iThrive subscriber. And they can also subscribe to the next 4 webinar series and also view these. They're also being recorded so they can get them later. But thank you again, all of you, for coming tonight. And it is with great pleasure that I get to introduce my first guest. Adam Cmejla is a great friend of mine. I couldn't think of a better person to start talking about authenticity in our business. He is the founder of Integrated Planning and Wealth Management. He is also the host of 2020 Money podcast, which we're kind of turning the tables a little bit. I'm usually the guest there, and Adam is the host. So this is kind of a fun role reversal. I've been honored to be a frequent guest on 2020 Money. If you haven't listened, there's an episode for everything, and it's just a fantastic wealth of knowledge. No, Adam's a pun.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
So we're gonna have a battle of quotes and puns. So I'm winning. So, but Adam is a wealth of knowledge on lots of topics, and really has built a great following in optometry, not only in his financial planning aspect, but really looking at the big picture of what people are looking for. So when I started this idea about building an authentic practice and really looking at an overview of why did we become entrepreneurs, Adam, I reached out right away and said, I want this to be a big picture. Your professional planning needs to match your personal planning. And I promised in the teaser, this was not going to be your typical financial planning, 20 minutes of 401ks, IRAs, none of that, but really, how do you look at your personal professional life and set up a practice that supports both? And there's no one more qualified to talk about that. So Adam, we talked a lot about intention, and welcome. Thank you for being here. This is going to be wonderful. I'd like to start talking about intention. I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but we all go into business with an intention, and we go into our lives, hopefully, with intention. When we talk about intention in your world, what does that mean?
So thank you for having me again. And I promise to try and put practice ownership through a different set of lenses today. So I can do that whole pun thing as well. So let's have some fun here. I think the better way to think about intention, if we look at that title slide that we just, and thank you for taking that. This is, I can see a little bit bigger version of us now, and we can have the conversation. If we think of the word that you had, building an authentic practice or building an intentional practice, I think we could all agree that we could interchange those words and still have it mean the same thing. But we have to first define what it is, like, what does it mean to build an intentional practice? The way that I like to ask that question to try and figure out and kind of peel back the layers of the onion is to go back and ask the very first question of, what were you solving for when you built your practice or when you started your practice? And I would ask everybody on the call right now that's listening to this, think about that answer. When I ask you, if we were having a one-on-one conversation, Jen, what were you solving for when you started your practice? I'll usually hear answers like, well, I wanted to provide great patient care. My community needed an optometrist, and I was the only one, maybe not the only one, but right, I wanted to provide great patient care and provide a great patient experience. That's one thing that people solve for. But really, when you distill it down, you find that optometrists tend to fall into two camps. Both of them can be on opposite ends of the spectrum, and then there are variations in between all of them. They're either very clinically driven to practice optometric medicine that just happen to own a practice, or they are business owners that are creating an enterprise utilizing the profession and the practice of optometry. So they're business owners first that are solving the need for building an enterprise and just happen to have OD after their name. We have a couple of relationships that went through optometry school to do just that, to build an optometry practice. Now, I might opine that there are other ways in which you can build a practice, but that was their choice. So, and then again, there's variations on the theme. People ebb and flow through that, where they realize or potentially realize that, hey, I'm a clinician and I've got this business over, like I'm making money here, but I'm kind of unintentionally successful. I just happen to have the demographics and the demand is there, and the patients are coming in and we're providing care, and I'm making money and I'm harvesting cash flow out of this practice, and I'm saving a little bit over here and I'm doing a little bit over here, but I really don't have a definition of what it is that I'm solving for. And the reason that I go back to that question over and over and over again is because in the absence of having a clear understanding of what you're solving for in your practice, and to the extent that you're aware of that and can put guardrails around your practice, your business, one of my favorite quotes, and I can't take credit for it. I had a coach that I met and learned from a long time ago that said, and this isn't just applicable to optometry, but I see it happen in optometry. Your business will be the most selfish relationship you ever have in your life with, and it will take as much of you as you give it without apology or recourse. It's up to you to put guardrails around the business and build the business and practice that you desire to provide for the things in life that bring you joy. Not one practice owner that we work with got to the end of their practicing career, transitioned their practice, left their practice, because, side note, every practicing OD that owns a practice on the call, you will leave your practice at some point. The question is whether it's on your terms or someone else's. So, side little statement right there. No one ever got to the end of practicing and said, oh, I wish I would have seen more patients. I wish I would have worked harder. I wish I would have done. They care about what at the cost of what, both implicit and explicit. So again, that phrase of what are we solving for, in the absence of answering that, I go back and would ask everybody on the call that is a practice owner to take inventory of the guardrails that you've set up on your business. Where are those conditions that you will not compromise for your own personal happiness, joy, purpose? And when we think about those things, that can typically include the things like time off, time with your family, not missing a cross-country meet or a cheer practice or a football game, or fill in the blank, whatever that is. Your practice should fulfill what you want to accomplish personally and solve for that. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. When do you suggest that somebody does that? What's the best time? Am I saying
don't. If you haven't done it by now, the ship sailed. You might as well just mail it in and continue. No, of course not. The old Chinese proverb, as cliche as it sounds, what's the phrase? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. There is never a wrong time to start planning. And in the absence of you having a plan and intention with your practice, eventually someone else will. And newsflash, they're not going to have your best interest in mind. So dare I say, I think it's practice owners' responsibility to eventually, if you haven't already, take ownership of that responsibility as a practice owner, because again, dare I say, you owe it to the people in your life that are sacrificing and compromising, whether it was in the past or currently, for the business and for the practice that you have. It's not going to do it on itself. My favorite business phrases and just life phrases is, if you want something you've never had before, you must be prepared to do something that you've never done before. And Einstein's little kind of twist on that phrase is, no problem can be solved with the same consciousness that created it. So if you find yourself in this position right now of, yeah, I know I should plan, but I've got 14 patients tomorrow and an emergency that just ended up on the schedule, and my cost of goods just went up, and someone just bought this other company, and I'll get to that later. You have to carve it out. One of my favorite phrases, and it's not very eloquent. Actually, I have two favorite phrases. I'm going to be full of quotes and phrases here. So there's a good thing that this is recorded, because you might want to go back and revisit this. One of my favorite phrases is, and this again isn't very eloquent, but take one lick from the lollipop of mediocrity and you'll suck forever. Like this phrase of just being content with status quo and thinking that, well, lather, rinse, repeat, it's just another day, might as well just keep on keeping on. Again, if you want things to change, you have to be the one to change that. And the second quote that I have that is, again, not very eloquent, maybe a little bit better than the other one. Show me your checkbook, show me your calendar, and I'll show you your priorities. And so you have to carve off time. If you're a business owner, every successful business owner dedicates time to work on their business, in addition to the obvious work that you do in the practice if you're a clinician, and that's obviously the patient care responsibilities. So when you think of the net income, if we translate this briefly to the financial conversation, right? If you're a solo practice owner, your optometric net in the practice is basically the amount of dollars that you take home in the practice as both the practicing OD and the return on investment that you get for being an optometrist and owning that practice. That total amount that you have, part of that is technically the return on investment, and thus the business risk that you're taking in owning the practice and all of the responsibility that comes with it. If you're not happy with that number, then you owe it to your team, you owe it to maybe your patients, but most importantly to yourself and your family, to change course.
And that goes back to planning. If you don't know what your intention is, it's very easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of seeing patients. And we just go in and we're, okay, tomorrow, it'll be on my list tomorrow, but oh, there's an emergency, and oh my gosh, somebody just quit on me, and the bathroom flooded, and something happened in the optometry world, which I couldn't stay off Facebook all day because I had to think about it. I don't know how it affects me, but it's very easy for us to, I find optometry is such a unique career in that we practice very, most of us are in solo or small group practices. And if we're in a small group, sometimes we're solo anyway, and we don't see our colleagues. And even the last few years, I feel like it's been great to connect on Zoom and social media, but we don't always have that interaction. So we often work in a vacuum, and we don't have this bigger picture of, wow, I should be thinking about what matters to me, instead of just being in this grind of seeing patients. So, what comes up a lot with this conversation is, Adam, that's great in your theoretical, in real world though, I'm busy.
How do I do this?
I am busy. I see patients 5 days a week. I don't take a lunch, and I need to keep this revenue, because if that sounds great to block out some time, but what's your best advice for somebody who deep down knows that's the answer? I think we all know the answer, that we don't want to do this at night. Like, I don't want to do this at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, because my intention is to set up a business to allow me to spend time with my family. But how do I balance that with running a business that possibly is solely dependent on me? And if I'm not seeing patients, I'm not making money. So what's your best advice for somebody who might be struggling with that?
I mean, I will kind of push back, or not really push back, but to someone that says we're good, we're good enough.
We're good.
Our relationship is good enough that I can push back on you. Not necessarily on you, but for the person that says that, that's as tough love as it might sound. And sometimes it does require an investment of time above and beyond what you're doing in patient care to sacrifice in the short run with the long-term perspective in mind. So if you're in that situation where you can't compromise a single patient or a single hour of patient care, first of all, I would challenge you, is that truly where your practice is at, or is that what you have imagined and thought of in your practice? The one thing I love about business finance and practice financials is the numbers don't lie, and they're unemotional. They will tell the story of how you're showing up in your practice and what your practice is producing. And it is just that. It is a story. So it's unemotional, and it is incumbent upon you as a practice owner to understand what those numbers are telling you. So one of my, again, another great quote is that we suffer often more in our own imagination than in reality. And so what you think might be a dire situation may not be all that bad, but let's just assume for argument's sake and for conversation's sake that it is. It may require you carving off some time, and admittedly, it starts at home. And whether you're married or not, or you have a partner, or you have people that are dependent on you, it starts at home to understand what is it that you're solving for there. This is this idea of building an intentional and authentic practice. And it starts with, what is the amount of money? I'm not going to call it budgeting, because that's
we're not going there.
No.
Financial talk.
But at the end of the day, the reason that we own a practice is to provide a certain amount of income to us personally, to allow us, to what I said earlier, to live our best life on purpose. And the practice is the vehicle, it's the conduit for that cash flow to be able to provide for that. So you first have to understand, what is it that I need this practice to produce for me? And then reverse engineer that process and that formula from there. And that's where the math and the financials of a practice can help guide. And that's where, again, promise this wasn't placed, or this wasn't intended, but this is where tools like GPN and Edge can help you measure what your practice is producing. What gets measured gets managed. What gets managed gets improved. And so you do have to carve off time. Jenna, I'll ask you, when you were practicing, how once you invested the time to understand the tools that you had in front of you, like Edge and a few others, how often did it really take you to understand what the financial health of the practice was and what tweaks you needed to make to the practice?
Very little, and I was, like I said, I've been using the Edge for forever, and it became where I always knew what was going on. So I didn't have to dedicate 4 hours, 8 hours, an hour. It was just something that I continuously monitored and had a pulse on it. So I think that when you're starting, it might be that you do have to set aside a big chunk of time to gain control and to really, first, do your homework of thinking, what am I, like you always say, what am I solving for? And then you stole my quote. I have it on my board.
What did I steal?
But I have to read it. I can't, it's up on my board. But it's truly, I'm a big fan of metrics. So if you don't know what's going on, you don't know even where to start. So once I think once you get a handle on that, you really don't have to take the time. I didn't set aside 4 hours. I didn't close the office. I didn't take a half a day, but it might be that's what you need. But we've been doing it so long that it didn't take as
Yeah.
much. But
It,
go ahead.
it's a flywheel. It's a flywheel. Everything that you work on in your practice, again, one of my other favorite, I have so many quotes right now. There's just first, like, what you focus on expands. And if you focus on, you don't have to you didn't get into this situation overnight. Practice owners, if you're on this call right now and you realize that you're in this situation where you're wanting to have a little bit more control, there's a misalignment of the vision that you had for your practice versus where it's showing up right now. If those two lines have diverged, right, and you're looking to have them converge, see, I can do this all day long with divergence and convergence, and like, I'll throw a focal point in there sometime, and I don't, yeah. Pretty soon I'll have a BIO on my, and I'll get out of 20. Kidding. But if you diverge from that path and you want to get those to converge, just remember that divergence didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to converge overnight as well. Back to what you said, it starts with a single step. And I am going to sound like a broken record where I'm going to keep coming back to, what are you solving for? And what is the one change that you can make in your practice that's going to have the most impact in aligning that intention with your act? Or what is the one change that you can make in your practice that can align action with intention? So for example, if we distill down any business, my business as a wealth advisor, the coaching business that I have, the consulting business that I have, as a practice owner, as a manufacturer of any gadget, it comes down to number of widgets or revenue per widget, widgets per day, days per week. In doctor days, right? If you have 2 full-time doctors, you have 10 doctor days per week. Okay. So how many patients per day? How many days per week can I fit into one calendar week, right? Because we might be able to have 15 doctor days per week, but we still only have 52 weeks out of the year. And if we're solving for fiscal year challenges here, go back and ask yourself, understand the revenue and metrics for your practice. Again, where tools like GPN can help understand that. So if you're having this conversation where you're not happy with your top line, or if you're not happy with your net income of the practice and what it's producing, and you start reverse engineering that and going through your expenses, what's the word I'm looking for? A spoiler alert, like, don't focus so much on the expense side of things. The vast majority of optometry practices, your expenses, the marginal cost of adding new patients to your practice, short of building out in a lane, short of buying a building and growing everything or adding staff, the marginal incremental cost of adding new patients, the marginal share cost is next to nothing, right? Your cost of goods, which rises with revenue. So that is a corollary cost. So don't focus so much on the expenses. I think that's a mistake practice owners make, is they comb through their P&L with a fine tooth comb, trying to, right? With I could use another glasses analogy. They get so myopic on their expense side of things. I can go all night. But my point is, reverse engineer that, focus on the top line revenue. Go to those 3 metrics that we're talking about. If you, as a practice owner, have put guardrails around your practice that says, my kids are so important to me, I'm not going to miss their activities, or I'm not going to work any more Saturdays, or I'm going to stop doing evenings. Again, just examples of what we've heard, of what we've seen. All right, then you take in 1 or 2 variables out of that, then you need to increase revenue per revenue comp exam. You need to see more, solve for that, solve for top line revenue, because when you boil down a practice or any business, it really comes down to those 3 variables.
Or be okay with that. If you say,
or be okay with that,
is that I want to slow down. And that's where I think that's where this idea came from, is I'm encouraged from a lot of colleagues who are looking at their practice differently than they did pre-COVID. And they're saying, I don't want to be open on Saturdays. I don't want to have evenings. I want to cut down to 3 patient days a week or 4. So they know what their intention is. They just don't know how to get there. And they're kind of stuck in between, and they know it's possible, but they've got the idea. They just have to take that step and understand what comes with that, whether it's revamping your practice and looking at those metrics, or saying, I'm okay. I know that if I go from 5 days to 4 and I change nothing, it might be a slight cut of income, but I'm okay because what I'm buying is my time. And that to me is,
Yes.
but knowing that, I mean, you know me very well, time, if you had to ask me what was the most important thing in my life, it's time. And it's time for family. It's time for me to do things like this. It's time for me to do other things. So for me, I know that my time is the most valuable thing for me.
Well, one of our mutual friends, right, Dr. Jeremy Ciano, in his emails that he sends, that when we trade emails back and forth, he just, you talk about a quote monster. That guy just interchanges them all the time. But he had one years ago that always resonated with me, and I forget who to pay attribution to because it's not him or me, but it was, I'd rather put more time on my watch than gold in my pocket. My version of that I had always heard was, with more time, I can make more money. With more money, I cannot make more time. So to practice owners, if you're thinking that I can't afford, quote unquote, to take the time off, realize that is an investment in your practice, and don't do yourself, again, this is going to sound kind of harsh, but I'll trust that we're all here from a good place. Don't do yourself the disservice of just providing yourself lip service. Oh, I didn't even plan that. That kind of sounded good. Like, don't just have, I just get, it is recorded, so you heard it here. Don't do yourself the disservice of just providing yourself lip service. Meaning, what I mean by that is, if you're going to take that time out of your practice and give yourself that time back, make sure that it is a return on time. Make sure that you're investing that. So again, I don't want this to all be the fluffy, oh, that sounded great. That was a bunch of quotes, and that was a hoorah, rah, I'm all motivated now. The action items for you as practice owners, and I want to make sure that if we have any questions, we get to them here. But the action items for you here, it comes down to your numbers. You're right. This isn't financial planning talk. We're not going to talk IRAs and Roth IRAs and 401ks. Oh my. Those are the end result of what you can do once you have a handle on your financials and you understand what the business is able to afford you and the income that you're able to harvest off of it. A quick note. This was the last episode of 2020 Money that I did, where the topic was correlating your savings rate to your production rate in your practice. And one of the things I emphasized towards the end of that is the importance of not letting lifestyle creep, meaning that your cost of living continuing to ratchet up with the production and the success of your practice. Make sure you understand what gets measured gets managed. So the action items for ODs on this call is to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, this is very much a who, not how conversation, because if you don't know your numbers, you're probably kind of burning the candle at both ends of the stick. So your comment might be, but I don't have time to figure out my numbers. Well, guess what? There is a whole, again, I told you that you're going to put a quarter in me here and I'm going to get going. There are people on this call, and there are people in the profession of optometry that are loving on you and that will love to help you understand your practice, because the one common denominator that everybody on this call has is that we want to see and continue to see private practice, not only survive, but thrive going forward. And the best way we know to do that is to support practice owners regardless of where they're at in their practice owner journey and the success curve of their practice ownership journey.
I agree. I'm very excited and very proud of private practice. And I think that the last 2 years has showed people that they really need to take control, or if they want to. There has been kind of this renewed increase. I know we've got some friends on here that would agree. Renewed interest in cold starts and really tackling by either buying or buying into a private practice. I'm going to keep talking, but if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. You've got Adam and I here. I would love to. This actually segues really nicely into next week's conversation, and I have another great guest who I know has been a guest on your podcast as well. Next week at 7:30, we have Nathan Hayes, who's going to help us take these plans that we have thought about and really had some ideas, some action points. And now how do we turn those into reality? How do we take these goals that we've crafted and put them into our practices? And again, it is great to think about what we want to do, but how do we put these into our practices and make our practices more effective and efficient to allow us to have that time to take a step back and be the CEO of our practice and to be a business person? So today, I really want everyone to come away thinking about what their intention is with their practice. What does that look like? And next week, really, Nathan's going to help us think about now, how do we set up our practice for success, to be able to run maybe without us being the only one that everything is dependent on. So this has been wonderful. Adam and I could talk for 2 hours, I think. So I was like, oh, how are we going to do it? There's just so much great content, and there's just so much great information. And I am so thankful to have you here. Thank you for kicking off this webinar series. It's exactly what I envisioned. And really, every time I speak to you, personally for myself, it's such a help to think about stepping out of that practice mode and stepping into the person mode, and to, get out of the day-to-day grind of all of the things that we're also going to cover in the next webinars on staffing and culture, and the things that take our focus away from the bigger picture. So thank you, as always, for inspiring me again and again and again to live my life, intentionally, and think about what's important to me, because if your business is not supporting that, it's a really hard thing to be. So
and like Doug commented in the chat, and good to see you, Doug. Thanks for being here, and thank you for the comment. And like you had mentioned in the beginning, Jen, it's lonely as a business owner. We long for community. As human beings, we want to be a part of a community. We want to have the support and the sounding boards and be able to have those conversations. So whether it's a group, whether it's a mastermind, whether that's part of what I envision building here in the optometry space in some capacity, no, you're not alone. And the biggest fear that I have as a business owner is not knowing what I didn't know and not being able to have conversations. It's why my mastermind group is one of the most important groups of individuals that I surround myself with. And it's why I would encourage everybody, practice ownership can be a lonely island. And so through this conversation, hopefully you've gotten some action items. Next conversation next week with Nathan is surely going to be a very actionable and detailed one on the practice. So thank you for having me, and I appreciate you all.
Thank you. And again, it's in the chat where we can find you, but if you haven't listened to Adam's podcast, this is a 30-minute snippet of all of those podcasts. So they're all awesome. So I'm excited to go back and listen. And thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Again, I look forward to seeing you 7:30 next Tuesday with Nathan Hayes from IDOC, talking about how we're going to take these plans that we've thought of and put them into reality. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you, Dr. Stewart. Appreciate you.